Now I'd like to introduce our special guest speaker for the luncheon, Ms. Tracy Golden, CPA, CGMA, is the chairman of American Institute of CPAs, AICPA, and serves as chairman of the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. Tracy has held several volunteer leadership positions at the AICPA, having previously served as a member of the Board of Directors and Governing Council, as well as chair of the Audit and Finance Committee and Peer Review Board. In addition, she has served as the board liaison to the AICPA Foundation Board of Trustees and a member of the Relations with the Bar and National Peer Review Committees. Prior to recently retiring as an audit partner with Deloitte, Tracy had responsibility for facilitating and coordinating reputation and risk-related initiatives and matters and collaborating with member firm leadership to proactively identify emerging risk matters and monitor and facilitate managing existing risks in the American region. Golden has been recognized for her experience and leadership in the accounting profession. She was named as one of the most powerful women in accounting by the AICPA and CPA Practice Advisory, and was awarded to the AICPA Sustained Contribution Award, recognizing her years of volunteer service on the AICPA committees. She's an active speaker, presenting at many AICPA and state CPA society conferences on topics including leadership in accounting firms, growing the CPA pipeline, and trends in the profession. She's a member of both the Connecticut and Virginia State CPA societies. She serves on the boards of directors of the Association of Advanced Collegiate Schools of Business and several of its committees. She also serves on the board of the United Way of Coastal Fairfield County. Tracy received her bachelor's degree in business administration from Georgetown University. Let's welcome Ms. Tracy Golden.
Thanks so much, Esther. I appreciate it. And I'm so happy to be here with you today. I apologize we can't be there in person. That would be awesome if we could, but I was glad to see that people have their flair on. I think that's very exciting. I decided to do this today from near my Christmas tree so that I would have some flair as well. So I'm happy to be here with you and sharing this time. What I'd like to do today is talk a little bit about the future of work. And the reason I do that is because I think the things that we're doing at the AICPA are helping our members to really think about, how do they continue to evolve for the future? And we're doing that at the AICPA as well. So from that perspective, I'll take just a few minutes to cover some things that are going on at the AICPA. I'd like to leave a little bit of time for questions. And then you can, we'll get to the rest of the program as well. I will say that in 2020, a lot has changed. Yet there are something like that, something like the changes that we've been seeing. While they've been happening, I would also say that certain things have stayed the same. And that what has stayed the same is our commitment as a profession to protecting the public interest. And really our dedication to ongoing quality in our services and advancing our services to help businesses and individuals make their way through this pandemic and come out on the other side. I'll talk today a little bit about things that are accelerating and what's happening and then how that impacts us as a profession. So first, just to cover a couple of the trends that are happening. Clearly, technology is disrupting our work faster than we had imagined. But this brings us opportunities, and so we need to be ready to capitalize on those opportunities. Second, the trust and disclosure of non-financial information is becoming increasingly important in our world. Because of that, and because of the changes that are occurring all around us, adopting a lifelong learning mindset will be a necessity as we go forward, really. The most successful firms in the future, I think, will be diverse and inclusive and will have flexibility in their work arrangements. We're already seeing that people, by and large, are expecting to continue remote work, at least in some form, going forward. And then a final thought, our commitment to evolve and our purpose will be increasingly important to the younger generation. So we need to stay focused on how we communicate around that. So I mentioned that we have opportunities there. We've been adopting new technologies all year this year. We're using things like this to do a holiday luncheon, things like Zoom, things like some other platforms that are out there. That auditors are able to do things differently because of the way that work has evolved and the technologies that they're using. The emerging technologies are actually creating new opportunities for services for us as well. And if you think about even just in the audit space, how you do the audit, when you do the audit, when you look at things and what you look at are changing because of some of the technologies that we now have access to or that companies are using to create their financial records. So as an example, with artificial intelligence that's out there, auditors in the future will spend less time gathering, correlating, formatting, and summarizing information, and more time really analyzing and evaluating the results or the implications of the data that they've been given. As this continues to advance, there will be additional opportunities as we look forward in the area of artificial intelligence and how people are using it and whether or not they're using it with controls and things like that. So if you look at some of the other areas that are accelerating, I think blockchain is clearly one of them. I would say probably one of the key areas that has really advanced in the last year is cybersecurity. With everything going online so quickly, clearly the cybersecurity aspects of what businesses are doing, what individuals are doing, have become critical. And certainly with cybersecurity SOC services and the guidance that's been put out by the AICPA, CPAs are well positioned to, provide good guidance, good trust in information, and so forth around that, both from the perspective of management accounting and the public accounting side. So I think that's very important for us. And then if you look at supply chain, clearly that's become critical in the last year, right? People have understood that their supply chains are disrupted, didn't really know what all of that meant to them, but now there are opportunities to take a look at your supply chain and provide services around SOC 1 and SOC 2 to the extent you're in firms. And to the extent that you're in business, I would say that that's also an opportunity for you as well to provide additional support to the teams within the organization that are looking at supply chain. And there's a lot of good guidance that is out there on the AICPA's website, for example, relative to that. I pointed out also that non-financial information is going to become increasingly important, and the trust in that information will bring opportunities as well.
We still have pretzels. We still have.
I don't know. Does everybody have their microphone muted, or is there a difficulty hearing me? There's one that might not be muted there.
The thing I'm on right now.
I think we took care of that, Tracy. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. I didn't want to talk over or try to do that. So thank you. I appreciate that, Heather. So in response to what we see as increasing stakeholder expectations, really it's needed for us to focus on ESG, environmental, social, and governance disclosures and information, and try to get something that is more consistent. One global set of standards would be critical in this area. And an important step towards this goal, in September of 2020, the IFAC, the International Federation of Accountants, has called for a new Sustainability Accounting Standards Board. And also in September, the IFRS Foundation, the International Financial Reporting Standards Foundation, issued a consultation paper to get that out there. A more new event that just occurred is the IIRC, the International Integrated Reporting Council, and the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board have announced that they will merge in 2021. All of this is with the goal of creating a more consistent and comparable set of information that then can be looked at by management accountants and provided under a set of controls with the management accountants and finance organizations that then can be audited by, or attested to, by auditors and CPAs. So working together, our management accountant professionals and our public accounting professionals will be able to advance this as we see the new standards coming together and as we support those things in the future. And the association and the AICPA are both working in this area as well. So I think a very critical area of possible opportunity going forward for us in the future. Because of all of this stuff that's happening and all the changes that are out there, businesses and organizations are really expecting different things from us as the new world affects them and as they're trying to navigate the disruptions and the challenging items that are impacting them. Therefore, we as CPAs must commit to constant reinvention to adapt. This will require new skill sets and new roles that we'll take on as we look forward. So that's why I am passionate about lifelong learning and adopting a lifelong learning mindset for me is something I see as critical for our profession and will allow us to continue to evolve, to use our human skills to add to the technology that we have, and therefore bring the better insights and the value that we can bring with our CPA credential, very important as we look forward. This is just a list of some skills demands that are coming. I think there are a number of them that we have a leg up on, if you will, and therefore we will be able to, if we develop that and adopt that lifelong learning mindset, we can continue to evolve in the right way and provide the right values to our employers, our firms, and our clients. When I look at what the AICPA has done to help us do that. In response to COVID-19, we've offered free and paid webcasts on specific COVID-19 topics and the impact of COVID-19 in multiple areas, including business continuity and planning, remote auditing, financial planning during market volatility. And we've had quite a good uptake on that, over 180,000 registrations for those events. I'm sure many of you have taken part in the town halls. Those have been focused primarily at the PPP and the CARES Act and keeping up with the questions and the notions that are happening that all of us in practice have to be aware of for the small business clients and the small businesses that we own ourselves. So we're having a pretty big uptake in all of that in the areas that really are critical right now. What we see in the future is, as the association and the AICPA, we need to stay right in the front of that and manage to develop the new learning and help people to, when they've adopted the lifelong learning mindset, to attain that lifelong learning and to attain the right skills, the right classes, and those kinds of things. So we're working hard on making sure that we're doing that so that we serve our members well. I think that when I also think about this, I really do look to individuals to look away from the CPE credit and the hours credit module or hours credit mindset, and more about what can I do to continue to advance my own skill set, and how do I do that, and what's the best way? What am I interested in? And moving that forward, I think, will help a lot. And I think that's the direction we're going to go anyways in the CPE area also. So getting a little bit ahead of that is a good thing, I think, also. So I mentioned in my fourth point that successful firms in the future will be diverse and inclusive, and they'll have flexibility in their work arrangements. Really, I think the key is that we all know that bringing diverse people, the different people and cultures and perspectives into our profession, will be best positioned to solve the most challenging and complex problems. And therefore, it's important for us to figure out how we're going to do that. Well, the AICPA provides a number of resources in the area of promoting and advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so I'd encourage you to take a look at the website if you're looking at things to do within your firm or within your business. Because there is quite a number of resources. There are quite a number of resources that are there that can provide some guidance. I think this is key because we're starting to see in the surveys that the AICPA does and the trends in enrollment in accounting programs. This year, we had 44% of the population in accounting programs is people of color, and 51% are women in total. So if you think of the where our demographics are going, we all are challenged as leaders in our profession to be inclusive and recognize the importance of diversity to our future talent pools as well. So to benefit from that, we really have to commit and contribute to the recruiting, the retainment, and the advancement of diverse professionals and diverse talent in our profession. Leadership doing this is key, and I'm happy to say that over 70 organizations, including CPA firms and other organizations and the association, have committed to this through the CEO commitment on the Diversity and Inclusion Pledge. That is an important element because this has to be led, and look for you to the extent that you haven't seen that within your firm or haven't done that yourself. It's a good idea to take a look at that and bring that to your organization as well. So one of the areas that when we think about what we need to do for the future to continue to evolve and to have the right learning mindset and so forth is we have to keep the CPA licensure model current and future-proof it really. So based on the input from over 3,000 stakeholders, NASBA and the AICPA worked together and developed a new model, core plus discipline licensure approach. This will start with the robust core in accounting, auditing, tax, and technology. And then each individual will also select a discipline in which to demonstrate deeper skills and knowledge. These anticipated disciplines, which you see on the screen, are business reporting and analysis, tax and compliance, tax and planning, and then information systems and controls, the controls aspect of what we do, technology and controls. And those are really the three pillars that our current profession is really focusing on. And so what this will do is still create one CPA. Everyone will have the same rights and obligations as a CPA, but it will essentially give us the opportunity to be flexible and to adapt to future skills that come along or future areas that we might adopt as pillars in our profession as we move forward more readily than where we were with our CPA exam of the past. So we are working collaboratively right now with stakeholders, including academe, the state boards, any of the areas where we need to make regulation changes and legislature changes to the extent that that's the case. And I know that the states like Kentucky have been working closely with us on this, so we certainly appreciate that. And we look forward to adopting a new CPA exam in 2024. Our messaging to students, and I'm thinking about our future talent now, and particularly high school students, is really critical in the next few years. We need to make sure that we're communicating that accounting is meaningful work and it's a secure career choice for young people who are concerned now about employability and in-demand skills. And they're excited about seeing the advanced technologies that are in use, that we're using now, and that we're going to be ready to continue to use in the future. Our strategy at the AICPA is to support the pipeline by continuously engaging high school and high potential high school students throughout their journey to CPA licensure all along the way. We've really shifted our focus to engage students virtually because that's where we are right now, and have a number of webinars that are available now on popular topics such as CPA careers, emerging technologies, and resiliency. An example of that is our high school honors program, which is now online and available through that process. So I encourage you to be out there when you're recruiting and talk about the purpose-driven nature of our profession and our protecting the public interest. It really will be important as we look forward, I think. Gen Z, which is the generation that's coming up now, have indicated that they are, in fact, really focused on how they can create societal impact. And we are positioned, and we do as a CPA profession every day, protect the public interest. And so the meaningful work that we do should be something that we're communicating loudly and clearly with our potential future talent about. So I'm going to stop really here and say, really, it's been quite a year, obviously. I have not been out on the road as much as I anticipated I would be when I first found out that I would be chairman of the AICPA. But there's a lot of good that we can take from 2020. It's been a hard year for a lot, but it's been a year where we can add good as CPAs. We've made a lot of important progress with CPA evolution and encouraging the next generation to join us in our profession. Together, all of you, and we are shaping a vibrant future of work, even as the world continues to throw us these challenges with the pandemic. I know that you're working harder than you probably thought you would be during this, and many harder than ever. But remember in the day-to-day that your work is meaningful, that you're bringing positivity and you're helping to drive trust, opportunity, and prosperity in this economy, and for individuals all over the place. So I look forward to continuing to work with you, and essentially making sure that our profession stays vibrant for the future. It's a passion of mine, and that I think that's it for me. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
Tracy, we do have a couple of questions that are in the chat room.
Okay.
Do you have any numbers of CPAs in the U.S. that are employed? And is the number growing over the last few years? And also, what do you think the outlook is for the future?
So, that's a great question. So thanks for that. I don't know that I have exact numbers at this moment, because I don't think that's something that I've been certainly looking at. But what I can say is that when I do talk to people in different states, and I do look at different things that we're doing, it is true that the demand for what we do is still great, and I would say that that's true whether you're in a finance organization or in a firm providing services to clients. So if you look at where people have been, I think what I'll say less impacted, our profession can say that it's been, generally less impacted by the changes in work, because we are able to work remotely. And I'll just give you an example. In order for auditors to be able to audit remotely, companies have to be able to produce their information remotely as well. So the finance organizations are really have been forced to do the same thing at the same time. The CPAs know, who are in finance and who are in public accounting and management accounting and public accounting, know that they've both been working very hard to make sure that information continues to be, one, available, and two, assured for investors, which is obviously very critical to continue to support the economy growing. So that's one of the areas where we actually think it's a huge benefit for us to talk about recruiting and talk about our profession as a great career choice, as being highly employable as we move forward, and hopefully drive additional individuals to want to not just take the accounting program, but to pursue the CPA credential itself, because we really do think that credential is what is giving us a little bit more opportunity than we might have if we were just starting out fresh without the CPA credential or without pursuing the CPA credential.
Okay. Another question. We do have several, so hopefully we can get to all of them. Do you have any recommendations on how to go about upskilling ourselves or our staff, but at the same time keeping ourselves up to date on current skills and technologies? So
I would say this. I would say that if you're a member of the AICPA, right now is a great time to go out and look at your membership benefits, because at the moment, one of your membership benefits, and I'm sorry to say it's only through 12/31 right now because it was a 2020 benefit, but is the Digital Mindset Pack is available one module of it is available to every CPA. And if you're a CPA CGMA, you can get the whole module and take the whole pack. And it's on such important topics today as data analytics, blockchain, and cybersecurity. I think cybersecurity probably has been the most taken, if you will, the one people have reached for the most. But another thing I would say is think about what you're really trying to, what you want to do in the future, and look at how your practice has evolved or how your business is evolving, and then one area that's really very helpful is the COVID Resource Center on the AICPA's website, because there's a lot of stuff that's in there that's been added this year to try to focus on how things are going to look in the future, how we're getting through where we are now, but also look to the future. So some of that would be critical. And then don't forget the skills of, the human skills, like the leadership and critical thinking and those things, and opportunities with your alma maters, for example, have been growing of late, that I've noticed even in my own. And so there are quite a lot of opportunities out there if you take a few minutes and just do some searches in some key websites for you. You should be able to find something that would be of interest and also will add to your upskilling. That being said, also look for the group opportunities for your organizations, because there are quite a lot now with the capabilities that have been built on the virtual learning, that they can provide a better pricing for you than if you allow each person to go and pick what they want to take. If you get all people to do one, you may find that it's more cost effective for you.
Okay. Another question, what can the CPA community do to increase and improve diversity and inclusion of our profession outside of the Big Four?
So, that's a great question. And I think that one of the things you can do is right now, how awesome is it that we have the opportunity to hire from anywhere and not be constrained by a physical office location. And that's going to be one thing that I think does continue into the future. It won't be for everyone, because there will be a need to continue to have people who, may do things that are in offices and related to, running a business in an office, especially in firms. But what I would say is that gives you the opportunity to open up your talent search and really look in some of the diverse areas. And this is probably not something you would have thought of doing when we were all, running around working in our offices and things like that. But certainly that provides us a great opportunity today. I would also say that as you look towards the future, take a look at the AICPA's website on this one, because there's a whole diversity and inclusion section. And it provides some really good stuff for firms to use that are not large firms, because the large firms have their own processes that are in place already. But it provides like toolkits and things like that to use that might be very helpful if you're looking for that kind of assistance as well.
Okay. And Jacqueline, I know that you have a question for Tracy. Do you want to unmute yourself?
I sure will. I thought I would just ask the question directly to you, Tracy. Hey, I'm
Sure, Jacqueline. Hi.
Hey. Yeah, so I love hearing you talk about leadership skills and the human side of things, and doing that in addition to technical skills. And even though right now in some states there's not a lot of personal development or leadership CPE hours that are allowed, hopefully that will continue to evolve in the future. And there are still some companies and some firms that are out there with that, traditional mindset of our CPE just needs to be technical skills. So how do you recommend, selling, being able to spend some money on leadership training and those skills that are so important for CPAs to have today, to really have that edge and to really be that advisory partner that our clients and our company people are really looking for?
Sure, Jacqueline, thanks for that question. I think it's a great one. And what I would say is that there are the way you do that is you look at some of the numbers, right? You actually can pull some of the World Economic Forum. I'll provide the slides afterwards. They have a little, like some of them have a little thing right at the bottom that says where some of the information comes from. Some of that information around the skill sets that companies are saying they need, and that businesses and organizations and the World Economic Forum says are going to be critical in the future. Those kinds of things can help to, I guess, open leadership eyes, to maybe have some more propensity to and more allowances for the kind of training that you're talking about. It would that kind of information is very helpful. Some of it, quite frankly, is available right on the AICPA.org website as well. So you can usually just go right there and click to some of the things that show skills gaps and what's needed for the future. I would also say that, when you read about why we did CPA evolution, it does talk about how the human aspects of making those judgments and how AI is changing everything, so that the way and the things that we do are going to become more critical about how we know what that data means. And we are uniquely positioned because companies give CPAs a lot of data. And so being able to then make more sense of it, because you're not focused on, the sales of the day or the returns that happened that day or what have you, you're actually focused on the broader sense of the business together. So if you can make those cases with your leadership team, bring in good examples of, what you've seen or what you've heard are some good potentials for the kinds of training that you're talking about. Look for those opportunities to make them group so that they are more cost effective potentially. I think those things would help probably in this area when you look at it.
Okay, I think just a couple more. Are you okay on time, Tracy?
I'm fine. Yeah, I don't know if you are. So that's more importantly, are you guys okay on time?
We're okay. We're okay. All right. Any recommendations for finding staff as a small firm? We run ads, but some don't seem to get any response.
Well, that's an interesting question. I hadn't really, gotten to that level of giving that thought. But when I do think of that, have you? I know you're talking about running ads and things like that. But have you gone out and looked at, where you might be able to recruit in a diverse way, where you might be able to add some diversity because you're not looking necessarily for people, that have to work right in your proximity. So expanding the view, if you will, a little bit can be helpful in that regard. I would say that you could look at the one possibility is the AICPA, not the AICPA, the association has a global career hub now where you can post the openings that you have and sometimes get uptake from the memberships that are involved and that can access that information as well. And if you're looking for new hires, certainly definitely expand your view as to which colleges. Don't stay local all the time if you aren't getting the responses from local. Go to some where they may not be placing as many people, but have great output, have great outcomes. You might be able to get some information on that from the AACSB website. It's aacsb.edu. And they might have some information that's available that if you're looking for university type, help in that regard.
Okay, and looks like this is the last question. For an update on the AICPA and CIMA merger.
Oh, sure. Well, we are the association now. I'm actually chairman of the association as well as chairman of the AICPA. And I would say that we are 5 years plus into it now, and we are clearly better together. We're able to provide a greater amount of resources to our members, both public accounting and management accounting. We're really able to focus on things from let's not duplicate everybody's efforts. Let's actually put the right kinds of resources out there. We're able to do advocacy from a much bigger voice. We have, 670,000 members worldwide. And in this pandemic, this has been a global health crisis. And so our voice is being heard from our profession globally, from in the US with our leaders, our political and our just normal government leaders that aren't political as well. Think, IRS, think Treasury, think the people who are not elected also, and as well as our elected officials, clearly. And then abroad, we are also making that same kind of impact with our advocacy, which actually strengthens the global economy, which adds to the economy for us in the US. So I would say what we've found is that the purpose of our getting together it is bearing out and is having a great amount of success in the areas that we have been looking at. We're also very focused on creating that next generation membership experience. And that's something you should start seeing coming through here in the next year or so as we start to adopt the new platforms and things that we can use to reach our members and to provide the support for our students and members, really to help us continue to grow as an organization in both the management accounting and the public accounting space, which we think as our profession works together the best when we have both of those really being supported by a vibrant organization like the association and the AICPA.
Great, great.
Awesome. Well, you know what? I want to stop sharing because I want to see some people with their flair. Oh, I love it. Very nice. I did this in front of my tree, so I was good today, to come to your holiday luncheon, and I appreciate being invited very much. I wish I could be there with you in person.